Call of Duty Black Ops is one of the best-selling Call of Duty titles. It was a huge hit and a game everyone raved about and loved. This story touched on areas of battle and theatres of war that up until its release had not been touched on and only referenced. The story of this game is dark and gritty and takes place during the Cold War. You play as Alex Mason, a CIA operative who during a routine mission to kill Fidel Castro sacrifices himself to save his teammates and gets captured in the process. Mason is then brainwashed, and throughout the game he is interrogated about the numbers and what they mean, a reference to the real-life numbers station that were used by spies to send and receive coded messages. You then play through various missions as Alex Mason and as Hudson, as he tells his captors how things happened and how the events played out. It soon becomes clear throughout the campaign that not as all as it seems. You encounter a familiar face from Call of Duty World at War known as Viktor Reznov, a Russian prisoner who helps you escape the hellhole you were imprisoned in when you were taken prisoner. The ending comes out of nowhere and blows you away, and all I will say about the ending is that the answer is right in front of your face the whole time, you just don't know it till the end. Black Ops' story takes place during the height of the Cold War and the war in Vietnam, and as such it is very much plays like a spy thriller. In one part of the game, you're jumping over rooftops trying to save a scientist who created Nova 6, a deadly nerve agent that predates the game time period back to World War II. Another has you at an ice station rappelling down the side of a mountain in Yamantau. At one point, you infiltrate a missile launch pad in Russia and take down a rocket that has been fired into the sky, and seeing it blow up is an amazing sight. The particle effects are amazing. The places Black Ops takes you into look stunning, and for its time, I can remember thinking, wow, this is how far gaming has come this far. I can only imagine where we go from here. This is the PS3 era, and I'm thinking, wow, this game looks amazing. I can only imagine what future console games are going to look like. Black Ops also focused heavily on changing things up as far as stories went. During this time period, we had games like Modern Warfare and Call of Duty World at War, both of which by that point had been done to death, especially World War II shooters. So by going with the more darker and gritty Cold War spy era, Black Ops breathed new life into the franchise. The particle effects Black Ops has are absolutely amazing, and for its time back on the PS3 and Xbox 360 was some of the best I had seen. This game is on par with the likes of Battlefield 3 and the Frostbite engine. The explosions and destruction alone make it a game you simply cannot put down. It is what I would say one of the most enjoyable campaigns that Treyarch had made in a long time. It does well at hooking you into wanting to finish it so you can get to the end and find out how this story ends. The gameplay is also broken up into different sections which later on become a Call of Duty staple, that being that you fly in helicopters and firing miniguns and rockets. There's also another mission where you're in a boat going down a river and you blow up convoys and other enemy boats, which is a nice way to break up the gameplay of just shooting enemy after enemy. The flying mission, however, has its problems and overall is quite annoying and taxing on one's patience as the planes dodge your missiles, which is the most effective way to destroy them because the only other alternative is to shoot them with your minigun, and that does little to no damage. Locking onto them is very difficult. Meanwhile, they can double team you and shoot you with pinpoint accuracy, never missing once, which means you must duck and cover, or in this case fly behind a mountain and then reappear and lock on and hope like hell you hit them. The game also makes you think about what is real and what isn't, and as you get closer to the end of the game you try and work out what really happened and what is going on in Alex Mason's mind. Viktor Reznov plays a very integral part and is woven into the story so brilliantly that by the end of it you're left wondering, well, what really happened and what didn't. Of course, the more you get into the campaign, the more things start to make sense and the more is revealed. The game does also have several frustrating moments where there is heaps of enemies shooting at you, throwing grenades, and you're in a tight, close quarters area, such as when you're on the ship playing in Viktor Reznov, and where the red barrels explode and you may not be aware that you're standing next to one and it explodes either by enemy gunfire or a grenade that they've thrown. I was killed this way many times, and every time it gets more frustrating to be killed this way without even knowing you were in danger. There are also way too many enemies in some instances firing at you at one time, and they'll fill you full of more holes than a Swiss cheese before you get a chance to fire back. With the grenades, however, one of the awesome mechanics is the grenade indicator. This helps out tremendously because it lets you know if you're near a grenade and if you'll be hit by it. The amount of times I've been killed by enemies spamming grenades and them being thrown at me without me realizing it numbers in the hundreds. However, with this mechanic, it somewhat removes that. It doesn't remove it completely, but it sure as hell helps. Another small but telling problem, and I don't know if this was just me, but I noticed that Black Ops has a slow reload for all weapons, especially for machine guns, which in the middle of a firefight can be annoying because then you have to quickly swap weapons and hope that it has a full mag in it. I can see where they were going for realism here, and I know that changing out a huge mag in the middle of a gunfight would take a few seconds in real life. However, this game, while you're changing out the mags, the enemies have shot you before you've even had a chance to find cover and fire back. Either that or you go the other way and the 30 round mag is gone in less than 5 seconds and you have to fiddle around with changing mags every few seconds. It is a small annoyance, but one that is noticeable. You also have a selection of weapons to choose from that can be found lying around in some missions. For example, in the mission where you're running across rooftops with the scientist who created the Nova 6 gas in Kowloon, there is 2 places where there are caches of weapons to choose from, and throughout the other mission you come across weapons that are leaning up against walls or sitting on tables. This makes the game fun because instead of just being given the option of either using the weapons you start with or picking the enemy's drop weapons, you can pick up weapons you actually want to use, and each one has a different attachment, such as a different sight on the gun or a different type of magazine. The freedom of choice is a great mechanic seen in many Call of Duty titles. There are also intel collectibles hidden throughout the levels that look like big VCR machines, which are very easy to miss if you're rushing through the levels and don't scan the area around you or take different pathways in certain levels. The ones I found, mostly I stumbled upon quite by accident. Another interesting point, and something I didn't actually know until I was playing the game, is rapper and actor Ice Cube makes an appearance in the game playing as Bowman. His distinctive voice can be heard shouting out orders or giving you a heads up about incoming enemies. It also turns out that Black Ops, much like World at War, had secret hidden weapons in World at War. It was the second level where you're rushing the beach and you have to jump from shell hole to shell hole and crouch for a few seconds in each one, and then you were awarded with a ray gun. In Black Ops on the level Kowloon, if you manage to find 2 tape players and remove the tape from one and put it in the other one in the armory behind the fridge and wait a few seconds, the thunder gun will appear on the wall for you to use. I have been playing this game since it came out in 2010 on and off, and it was only in 2022 by chance while on YouTube I watched a random video and spotted someone showing how this is done. Previously I had no idea it was even there or this was possible to do. Treyarch also tried something different insofar as it implemented scenarios, one being the mission on the snowy mountain in Yamantau where you get to switch back between a spy plane and a group of soldiers for a short period, directing them to either a building, taking out soldiers, or crouching so they aren't seen. During the same mission you also get to decide on whether or not you want to stealth your way through a certain section. You get a crossbow to assist with this, and the guys have to be killed in a certain order. There is an achievement if this is done successfully. Now, one thing that wasn't made clear about this is that your teammates will help you kill enemies if they are close together. For example, I shot one who was repairing a snowmobile, and my teammate, while I was reloading the crossbow, shot the other guard for me. If you miss or they are alerted, the alarm will go off and more guards will be summoned. In that case, you're given explosive arrows. I'm not such a fan of stealth that is done this way, but if it is done right, such as how Black Ops have done it, then it's not so frustrating and nerve-wracking. There are also the mission later on where the Nova 6 gas has been released and you have to wear a hazard suit and wade through the gas with zero visibility, all the while making sure you don't break the gas mask. The one thing I hate about this is you have to rely on an infrared scope to spot enemies, and every time you are shot your suit takes damage. If it takes too much, you'll die and have to restart the mission. What's worse is you also have to contend with attack helicopters shooting you as well at one point. As I said, Call of Duty tries to break up the gameplay from just being a boots on the ground shooter to a fun story driven game, but in some cases it's not as fun and just becomes overly frustrating at points. There are a few interesting moments and questions that have been left unanswered. One of the big questions during the campaign is the one instance of Frank Woods sacrificing himself to save you from being blown up, and it was assumed at the time before the release of Black Ops 2 that he died, or so we thought. However, that wasn't the case, and we discover that he is actually alive in Black Ops 2. It was refreshing to play a game that delved into an area that hadn't been touched in the genre or by the game franchise before. The gritty mystery thriller aspect of it made the game very enjoyable to play and replay through, and never once did it become stale or boring to play through. I highly recommend this game to anyone. If you enjoyed this review, please leave a comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos like this.